Good afternoon, everyone. That's better. We were having a little bit of technical difficulty. Thank you so much for bearing with me. Because you know that I am Danyl Patterson, producer, the writer, the talent, the gaffer, the technical support, and so that means that it doesn't always go so well. So for the very first time, we had to start a little bit late. But I am still Attorney Danyl Patterson. I am here for the people in Philadelphia, but specifically those in 190th. For those who don't know, that's West Philly, baby. Today, we've got some special guests, so let me bring them on for you. Alexandra Jackson and Gary Bailey. Hi, Alexandra. Hi, Gary. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Danielle.
Hey Danielle, hey Gary.
Hey, Alexandra.
So just so you know, and they'll introduce themselves a little bit more and give themselves some more kudos. But I just want to tell you who they are to me. So Gary Bailey is another attorney. He also practices personal injury. And for those of you who don't know, when you are dealing with a personal injury case, you are kind of married to that case and that family and that person for 2 to 5 years. So you become their attorney for everything. You become their jack of all trades, especially when we're talking about those things that benefit life, meaning your unemployment, your disability, your health insurance, all of these things, your family law issue, we end up having to deal with, even though they technically don't really have anything directly to do with your personal injury case. Gary's going to talk to us today, give us some new guidelines for the new unemployment compensation benefits under the CARES Act that was just passed and signed into law this past Sunday. Alexandra is a concerned citizen of the Philadelphia metropolitan area, and I say that because we unfortunately lost her to the burbs at some point, but she's North Philly born and bred and has moved all over this city. Actually, she's going to tell you a little bit about that. But that's where I go when when I kind of miss something. That's who sends me those articles and let me know that I wasn't with it a little bit. And I like the opposing viewpoint and the substantive viewpoint because she always backs it up with facts. And I love that about her. And she's going to come to us with some different resources and facts. And maybe we'll all think about some things a little bit differently. I invited them here today for Let's Talk About It Tuesday because so much is going on. So we know that on Friday last week that we were at almost 200,000 unemployment compensation benefit claims filed. That is more than double the expectation for the entire year in the state of Pennsylvania. And that 180,000 of those as of last Friday. And we know that the governor laid off another 2,500 yesterday. So we know this number keeps going up. And so now, what do you do about that? So it's not just state unemployment compensation benefits. As I told you guys before, they're only designed to pay you up to 60% of what you would make for somebody who only makes capping out at $34,500 a year. So he's going to tell you how the CARES Act is here to try and supplement those incomes. In addition to that, we are in the middle of a pandemic, but we still are in the middle of our gun, fire, and violence crisis here in Philadelphia. You wouldn't have to think that we're telling people to stay in the house, but people are still getting killed. There are still gunfights that are happening at family gatherings. Step one, it's a family gathering. So we've got 3 different problems going on, and how are we going to stop it? Let's talk about that. And then we've got your favorite person to talk about here in the Philadelphia area. Yes, that's Saudia Schuler. Yes, Camel Mom apparently was at it again on Instagram yesterday, trying to help the community. Some things went awry. And people see it from all different sides. And we're going to talk about it from all of those sides. For those of you who don't know, she was given a giveaway where she wanted to be able to give out some Pampers to those folks who were in need in a underserved population over in North Philadelphia. And apparently the folks didn't want to comply with all of the requirements to get what was needed. So we're going to talk about that too. And here we go. Gary, can you introduce yourself and you tell them a little bit more about your practice, but most importantly, how they can reach out to you?
Yes, my name is Gary Bailey, great friend and colleague of Danyl Patterson. Thank you for having me. I'm the owner and proprietor of Bailey and Associates down at 15th and Walnut. As Danyl said, I'm primarily a personal injury attorney, but I also specialize in civil rights. And the firm in general handles a lot of different areas. So we do some family law. We certainly help people with issues like this, wills, trusts, and estates. We touch a lot of different areas. And as you said, Danyl, rightfully so, over the years, I've been proud to become many different things to many different people because all of our lives intersect and intertwine with areas of the law. And while we're going through this pandemic, how are people going to get paid and have money available to them is one of the top, if not the really only question, other than is this disease going to, kill us? But that withstanding,
unfortunately, everybody's worried, and people are more worried about their financial death even than their real death right now. Because I think it's, the possibility of actually dying is something that's still it's still far-fetched in a lot of people's minds, and we're definitely going to talk about that. But all they see is that, we know we're living paycheck to paycheck, especially in our communities of color. And we're missing one check means, life has been drastically altered.
Right. And before I go into some of the outline pieces of the act, you can reach me at Facebook at Gary L. Bailey Jr. You can reach me on Instagram at g.b.esq. My email address is gbailey@Bailey Law Associates, and the office number, because we still are open, is 267-225-5442. Now, essentially 3 different ways of the act is how you can collect unemployment compensation at this time. And the good thing about it, and it's actually commendable to the government, is by 2 of the ways you can actually double up your payment, so to speak. And I don't mean double exactly, but meaning you can have 2 separate sources that can continue on your unemployment compensation.
Okay. So do you mean somebody can have 2 jobs, or do you mean you'll have two different ways of money coming in?
Meaning they have 3 ways that people who are out of work can collect unemployment, and you can qualify for 2 of the ways, which basically give you 2 separate payments that can be combined, as opposed to normal unemployment, through the regular economy, through the regular year, you just get 1 payment because you're out of work. This is going to allow you to get 2 payments based on some of the factors listed on my page and what I'm going to go through now. So the first one is called pandemic unemployment compensation. That payment is for people that are already on unemployment compensation. You don't have to do anything extra. That's going to increase the payments that would have otherwise ran out at your 6-month point. So you don't have to do anything extra for that. But the second one is called pandemic emergency unemployment compensation. That's for people whose unemployment ran out. Okay, so if you ran out of your unemployment, you can go back on the state's website, reapply based on this actual act, and you can collect an additional 13 weeks of payment. Okay, now the big one, and the one that so many people are going to qualify for if they can provide the limited documentation that the state is asking for, that's called pandemic unemployment assistance. Okay, that's going to allow you to collect unemployment for up to 39 weeks. It is retroactive based on January 27th, and it's available now. Okay. Now, here are a couple of reasons why you need to go on to my page and actually look at it so you can see the different areas where you can qualify. First, you will qualify if you were looking for work and you could not even start your job because of the COVID outbreak. The second one is if you've been diagnosed with COVID or suffering from symptoms and you can't work. Another way is if you have now become the breadwinner because the breadwinner of your home has either become sick or, God forbid, has died. Okay. Another way is if you have someone who you rely on in your home, an important family member who you're taking care of, but now you can't work because you have to take care of that person. So think about it. If you're taking care of a spouse, if you're taking care of a child, if you're taking care of an infirm family member who you claim on tax, like there's some significant ways that if you just go on the state's website, you go through this checklist and just apply, see what happens. I mean, it can't hurt, but it's certainly between those 3 ways you can combine for your unemployment. Now, remember I said, Danielle.
Well, I just want to back up and tell people.
Yes.
I just want to back up. Please do not call the state unemployment compensation line. Okay? You need to call. Please do not. You can call Telepac, which is the telephone Pennsylvania assistance line, and it gives you the option to do the initial benefits application on the phone. Okay, don't try to call and get a person. You're never going to get one. Okay, but I'm going to tell you the best way to do it is online. You can actually apply for all 3 of these things at one time, and the state will actually put you into which one fits you best. So if you don't understand it, You can always reach out to Gary. He's given you his number. And of course, my office is always open to help you at 267-291-4702, 267-291-4702, and we'll walk you through it. But we're here to make sure that you're not just, deciding yourself that these things don't apply to you, because the law is changing a lot.
And one of the things I also want to point out too, is normally self-employed workers, independent contractors, and other likes wouldn't qualify for unemployment insurance. So I want to be clear: self-employed workers, independent contractors, freelancers, workers seeking part-time, and workers who don't have enough time history in terms of that 6 months or a certain amount of money paid in, as well as religious institutions. They said everyone should apply. And we think about it, the reason, yes.
And I'm gonna try and tell Gary that over here we talk English, okay? So people don't know what freelancers are, independent. I'm gonna tell you. So Uber drivers and the pizza delivery man, you actually can get some unemployment compensation for the first time ever.
Laborers,
okay?
right? Plumbers, electricians, all of that. Okay.
Exactly. So this is not the time, how generally we would think, well, I don't get a paycheck, that we wouldn't, be able to get this. So my Uber driver friends, I saw you guys are really concerned. They've been all over my timeline. Please, I want you to know that you can apply. You can always reach out to us. We can help you, either of us. I want you to know that my friends who were just, working a cash register somewhere and they felt like, well, it wasn't enough. I get paid and it's, based on my hourly or I'm doing work from home. We've got virtual assistants and, virtual paralegals and things who are independent contractors who now don't have a job. You can get paid for all of these things.
And part-time workers. I mean, listen, really what it comes down to is the government wants us all to stay home, and they're going to give you every reason to stay home because they're going to give you money that you otherwise wouldn't have access to. So I encourage everyone, go on the website, go on my page. Like Danyl said, you can contact me, you can contact Danyl, the other attorneys who have also contributed in this post. Zaki Elizabeth, you can send her a private message. There's a lot of us there that are willing to help you figure this out, because we want people to stay home and get rest, get healthy, be able to address their bills while the city kind of recovers from the worst that's not even ahead of us yet.
And for those of you who are small business owners, we're going to have another live for you later on in the week. There are some new benefits that are coming out. They're going to be helping you with your payroll assistance, your small business loans, and these are some grants. That means that it's not money that needs to be paid back. But of course, because we don't know about them, we don't apply for them. So we're here to help you with that. And Corinne, I just want you to know, I came back and I told Gary that we need to talk like we read in the Daily News and not the Esquire. This is not the Wall Street Journal over here. Okay? We're not the Wall Street Journal. This is Let's Talk About It Tuesday over at DSP for the 190th, Gary. I got to remind you. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Gary, do you have the website available? And Corinne, don't worry. At the end of the lives, I always go back and I make sure that I add the additional information, but it's pa.gov/unemployment. Like
and listen, Google's your friend in this one. Just put Pennsylvania unemployment compensation. The first link that's going to pop up is where you go. Pennsylvania unemployment compensation. Click on that. It's going to take you right to the page.
And Kamari, we're not going to leave Gary alone. Let me tell you, this is what I really, really love about doing these live shows right now, is because I don't know when y'all seen red-haired Gary in a baseball cap. That's right. So we're out here giving it to you, even when we're, at home on the couch working. We're doing the best we can. Okay?
Haven't had a hat on in almost 5 years, but
Tish Bonds, somebody who was offered a job and they couldn't start. And then technically, even if they didn't have a start date, especially if they were already working anywhere else, it doesn't matter if it was a 2-week lapse. Like sometimes there's that week lapse. And so that's what Gary's talking about when he said it's not a requirement that you have been consistently working and paid so much into the system. This is not traditional UC benefits. They should still apply. Okay, there you go. So no, that's really good information, Gary. And I think that's, foremost on everybody's mind. Once we finish talking about what else is going on in life, that the gossip is always the best part. Okay. Now, of course, as soon as we say that we're going to come to her, we've got another problem. Unfortunately, Alexandra, can you hear me at all? Can everybody else hear me? Gary?
I can hear you. I'm here.
Alexandra?
Can't hear you.
I can hear you.
No sound.
Okay. So we're gonna ask Alexandra to log out and log back in and join us because now we're at the part that we wanted to talk to you.
I have no
So
sound.
not in your, is it possible to take the earbuds out and just do it through the phone? I know it's a little bit harder, but can you hear us that way? Do you have us, Alex?
Can't hear. I can't hear you. If you can hear me, but I can't hear you.
Okay.
I can hear, but
Yeah, we can hear you, but you can't hear us. Okay, we're going to keep it moving and very unfortunate. And because, of course, this is Danyl Patterson, the producer and the tech person, and has no idea how to fix that. So we've got to keep it moving, unfortunately. She's going to log out and log back in. So let's get on with what's going on in the state of Philadelphia today, because I know most of the people who logged in, they want to talk about it. So last night, we had more violence in Philadelphia. Over the weekend, we had loss of life in Philadelphia. And we're all supposed to be in the house. I mean, I don't know, Gary, is that just me? Did you hear that too?
listen, I was hearing it 2 weeks ago that we're supposed to be in the house, and I'm not understanding why people are not complying. Listen, it's like we're in second grade and we're waiting for recess. And the teacher's saying, if everybody be quiet for 10 minutes, we can go back outside. And you got three people that just keep talking and snickering and throwing notes, and we're all going to be stuck. We're supposed to be inside. Supposed to be inside getting rest, educating ourselves on something, spending time with our family. So it's appalling to me that people are just flagrantly still going outside. And then on top of that, committing crime.
Well, so last night, let's see, wait a minute. Alex is back. And I'm just going to pause you guys just for a second. Alex, are you back? Can you hear us?
I can hear you, buds. Went out again on me.
Now, okay. It went out
They're
again?
charged and they're paired, but something it kicked me out. So
Can you hear me now?
can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay, let's go. So we were going right to it. Actually, you came right back in at the right time. But first, I'm going to answer a question from Sharon Swan because this was interesting. So before we go to that, so it says Sharon wants to know, what if you're working as a hairstylist and not technically on the books, but you get a 1099 miscellaneous? So Sharon, a 1099 miscellaneous means that you are an independent contractor. And so that means that you are eligible for these new emergency unemployment compensation benefit funds, and you need to make sure that you are applying for them. Now, the other is if you are a hairstylist and you're an independent contractor, so let's say you're renting out a chair at a shop, or you're a barber renting out chair at a shop, there's actually some new benefits under the SBA guidelines that would also enable you to be able to get what could be a forgiven loan. We don't know exactly what that is yet. But we're going to tell you that, yes, she can file. And we see Kamari Ellis, the finance rebel, is out here making sure that he's answering when we don't either. So that's always great. We're getting a lot of help today. Thanks, Kamari. So now we're back to Alexandra. And we were just talking about the gun violence last night. And I know this is your pet peeve because you were all about the social distancing, how we're not adhering, and specifically, you just didn't even understand how this happened. So can you tell us actually what happened last night?
From what I read and from the news alert that I saw this morning, apparently there was a gathering. I guess they were family members, and they were celebrating the birthday late at night of a deceased relative. This is, again, what I'm getting from the reports. And then you see on social media, everyone's like, oh, so bad, but why were they having a party? They weren't complying. Someone actually even said that the police should recircle and arrest them for gathering against what we're not supposed to be having parties and being that close to each other. So on a personal note, and having a death of a family member this past week, we realized we can't come together and mourn this individual in a traditional funeral. So I'm thinking they're coming outside, it's late at night, nobody's out there. They're only interacting with each other. And then this unfortunate tragedy happens where everyone is a victim of a shooting. But I get that they're mourning the individual who they loved, their family member who they loved, but also we have to have some common sense in adhering to the social distancing. It's for the health of our children, our family members, as well as ourselves and the community. We can mourn individually, we can mourn at a later date at a memorial, but coming together late at night, and then the violence in the city, everyone is thinking it has dissipated, but it hasn't. This is making, in my opinion, again, this is my opinion and my thought, everyone's getting a little stir crazy from being in the house so long. So some people are getting frustrated and it can come out in a different way. We don't know the whole background story, but the gist of it is everyone has to adhere to what is being asked of us. And even if it is just a family, and it could have been a family living in the same house, please don't go outside. Keep everything inside. Be safe. Be conscious. Those are my thoughts.
I want to come back to that on a couple different notes, right? So even a little bit of, what's going on in the world and some devil's advocate here. So what we know in Ocean View, New Jersey, over the weekend, there was a bat mitzvah when it's a girl, it's a bat mitzvah. And the police actually circled back. They broke the thing up on a Saturday night, but they actually circled back and arrested the family, the mom and dad who actually hosted the party for the kids yesterday. And why did they do that? And the governor, Chris Murphy, I have to get it right, of New Jersey said that New Jersey's not playing with you anymore. And that apparently the only way to get folks to take it seriously is for the law enforcement to actually get involved. Now, what's interesting is that people know that here in Philadelphia, that we've got a little bit of a moratorium on arrest. Welcome back, Gary. That we've got a little bit of a moratorium on arrest. And so people thought, okay, that's going to lead to murder and mayhem. They did. They immediately thought that. And then that's actually what didn't happen. What happened was that people calmed down a little bit, but then the weekend came and it rained all weekend long. So last weekend, it was super nice. And it was just like, the Fresh Prince song. And it was, welcome to the plateau. And it was summertime. It was like I rode through the plateau. Like, this is the way I go home over there in West Philadelphia. And I was like, wait a minute, it's party time. It was looking like it was the summer. All they was missing was some sundresses. Okay. That's really all they was missing. And then, we saw what's going on in Bob's Crab Shack. But then what we also know, there were actually reports over the weekend. People are getting spit on. They're getting coughed on when they ask people to stay away from them with the social distance. The response is that there's a whole group of society of people who just aren't taking it seriously. It's all the conspiracy theories going on around there. It didn't have black people couldn't contract it. Oh, well, that's Jesus got me, Allah got me. So, or it's only 1.5% of the population and they're the old people that were going to die anyway. Now, let me tell you why that bothers me as a personal injury attorney, specifically as a malpractice one. That's actually a defense that is used, especially against people who look like us all the time. you already have comorbidities. Oh, if you didn't have diabetes already, you wouldn't have been more susceptible for the cancer to get you, and you would have been able to heal from your lung cancer surgery. Oh, well, we operated on the wrong leg because your blood pressure was so out of control that the veins had collapsed and we couldn't tell one from the other. These really are medical defenses to people that look like us, and we're using them on ourselves now. We are using them on ourselves to justify continuing to, party and shake it down to the ground. And we just can't do that. In addition to that, so we had a funeral gathering. I get it. You wanted to celebrate life. And y'all know, as Black people, I'm going to tell you, one of my friends told me, one of my Caucasian friends, she actually, after my father died back in 2009, from the swine flu, people, I want you to know that my father died from complications of swine flu. I told y'all this before. And one of my Caucasian friends had come to the funeral, and she told me that afterwards, my grandmother had previously died and she had gone to the funeral. So then my dad died, and she told her husband, she said, I told my husband that if I go before him to call Danyl, because I want one of them their funeral parties. That's what she calls it, a funeral party. And she wanted one. And that is, we're definitely known for that. Okay. We got to get it together there. But at the same time, this is not the time. We could have had a memorial service later, like your family is doing. We have to make sure that we're looking out for the living right now. And just based on what happened, apparently they were there celebrating the life of somebody who had died from gun violence. And then somebody else came to the repast funeral memorial celebration with more gun violence. I don't know. It behooves me. What do you think about that, Gary? How are we going to be able to get a handle on this gun violence?
Well, so last week I was on Malik Boyd's show after the initial report came out and was leaked by whomever leaked it to the press about the slowdown with the arrest for nonviolent crimes. It seems as though that message did not get out to the community sufficiently enough, because everyone is just out there still like nothing is going on. One of the theories that's being tossed around is that the National Guard is going to come in and try to slow these things down. And whether it's true or not today, it will definitely become a reality, because the government is serious about slowing down the spread. And for all the conspiracy theorists out there, of which I'm a card carrier member, I like to call the TV.
I'm glad you told. My friends come from all walks of life. I get all the viewpoints all the time.
And I love to put the dots together. But what I've learned is that the truth doesn't come out for 5 to 10 years anyway. And right now, whether you want to think this is the boogeyman, a hoax, or a weapon of mass destruction, like you said, people are dying. And that's what you have to take in serious consideration. But more than the death that we're experiencing, the fallout and the recovery is going to be years. And we're not even close to day one if people don't listen. And you can be rest assured that the federal government is going to make us listen if we don't willingly do it. Okay. So people need to go home, relax, sit down so we can get through this. Okay. Because every week we don't listen could be 3 weeks we have to stay in.
And let me tell you, Gary, Alexandra has been telling me for 2 months that June at the earliest. And that's what, and she would post about it randomly, and nobody will. Don't roll your eyes. How you gonna be on the TV rolling your eyes? She's rolling her eyes at me, y'all. Okay, so there you go. She's rolling her eyes at me, and it has been a thing. Is that, and what we know is that the idea of confinement causes just mayhem. It does, right? So when you tell people it was going to be 2 weeks, everybody kind of dealt with it. But now you came back with it's going to be another month. So that's 6 weeks of being in the house. And people are already, the memes are coming out. I was trying to homeschool my kids, but I just told them, hey, pursue your rap career, because parents know they were not cut out for this. The school district of Philadelphia just got the rest of the money, ordered laptops, and then school has been, determined to be closed indefinitely. Those things don't happen for no reason. They finally closed them indefinitely because the school district of Philadelphia finally got on board. That becomes an issue.
Being
Danielle,
in,
we see.
because I work in the health industry, in the health insurance industry. And the key thing that was told to me by one of my VPs is when hospitals start turning away money, canceling surgeries, be they elective or needed, that is your telltale sign that they're getting prepared for something much bigger. They were canceling surgeries back in February, not just 2 weeks ago. They were doing this in February. They've been getting prepared. My company has been getting prepared. We're fortunate because we have a business continuity plan where we can work from home. It's been practiced, it's been tweaked, but those were the telltale signs. And everybody was like 2 weeks. And my bosses was like, we'll see you in May.
Right.
We know. So unfortunately, people don't want to accept it, but it's going to take a while through its course.
Gary, we've got another conspiracy theorist. I'm going to let you take this one. Is it so? Tish Bonds, I got coming for you. Is it true that if they call martial law, 45 remains in office for another year?
So the short answer is no.
Yeah.
Because okay, let me explain this thing to people too. The last time martial law was declared was during Abraham Lincoln's presidency. Okay, it's a long time ago, and the reason he went to martial law is because it was a civil war, and he wanted to separate the North and the South from a strategic standpoint, and he wanted to stop outside countries from bringing in ammunition and food to the South. Okay,
that was part of the Embargo Act.
Correct. Martial law is to basically turn the military on the citizens. Okay, and if you think about it, the citizens right now are behind Trump, so there's no benefit to him turning the army on them. Notwithstanding, I firmly believe that the army can go into some of these poor neighborhoods and rack up on a few extra bodies because people don't know how to act. And I don't mean that to be dismissive. When I say don't know how to act, out there robbing and killing and stealing, I wish no harm to anyone that needs to get out and see a family member or to get food or something like that. I'm talking about the folk that are out there thinking that they're going to have a mini purge in their neighborhood. Because if you get signed up to any of these apps, we're seeing people carjacking, walking around with knives and guns. They're breaking it. It seems like if you have a vacant property, people are just going in there, like it's nothing going on. But again, to answer the young lady's question, no, under normal circumstances, 45 will not get another term. Well, excuse me, won't get another year. Elections will still go on. But if things went to execution level extinction like we see in the movies, then the last thing we're going to be concerned about is the president getting another year. We're going to have so many more bigger problems to deal with. So the way we can assure that those things don't happen is to spread the word. If you have family members or friends that are not abiding by the quarantine, tell them to stay home. Stop playing, okay? Get some water, get some food, and go on YouTube and learn how to do some things while you're home. You need to learn how to knit, learn an instrument, learn how to cook some meals, drive.
You're going to watch more episodes of DSP in the 190th,
Yeah. And there's a funny thing
that you put aside years ago.
But think of it this way, right? If we told everybody a year ago, hey, we're going to have a situation where everybody's going to stay home, I would have put all my money on and said, well, that's not going to be a problem. Everybody on their cell phones and laptops and play Fortnite anyway. They're not going to miss a thing. So how weird is it that we're supposed to stay home, get money to stay home, okay, have no adverse reaction in that regards, but everybody still wants to be outside. I swear.
Because as soon as you tell me I can't do something, I want to do it that much more. Right. I'm going to tell you that you cannot vote for Danyl Patterson for state rep, but I'm also going to tell you how you can apply and get the ballot mailed to you so that you can. So, don't listen to me. But we're now going to go on to the gossip part of the section. So, which is what's going on over there, country cooking. And, I totally believe in all points of view. So I want, Saudia to know if she wants to come on to respond, we are here for her to do that. But let me just give you the basics of what happened as I understand it, because unfortunately we had somebody who's going to come talk about it who was more intimately familiar with it, but was not able to make it. but specifically there was going to be a giveaway of Pampers and formula is my understanding. And we know Philadelphia is underserved. We know it is. And we know that we have been, our needy individuals have been needing a lot. And so I applaud everybody's effort to try to respond, and, in their ways of creatively trying to respond. But unfortunately, everybody's not equipped to respond. That's just the facts of things. We had some of our leaders who decided to do a food giveaway that actually did not adhere to social distancing. So that became problematic. Who didn't do any kind of actually invites, or they had no organization to it. So what do we have? We had a whole bunch of people that arrived en masse yesterday and last Wednesday, and the food ran out. But we still had people out here who brought their whole families out too. That's the other thing. So we kind of do. We make mistakes, and hindsight is 2020. So I definitely don't judge on that regard. But what happened was, apparently in the Instagram post where she Saudi Solar had announced that she was doing the Pampers giveaway, she stated that you had to bring your child with you. And I even get that. Okay, so you have to bring your child with you to come and pick up the Pampers. A young lady responded that yes, she was in need, but unfortunately, her child was not up to immunizations because of everything that's been going on, and wanted to know if she could bring some kind of alternative ID, be it a birth certificate or whatever it was, to be able to still partake in the benefits of the program. And then it just kind of went all the way left field from there. And it turned into, kind of a disrespectful back and forth between, and I'm just going to, because again, that's sad to say, I'm going to call it disrespectful. But there are going to be some people who would say, it's my giveaway. I treat it how I want to. There was that too. So I just want everybody to have all sides of this. But we see it a little bit differently, not just the back and forth and whether or not that's respectful. We wanted to talk about it from the social distancing aspect here, and specifically what's required here by law. So Gary, do you have anything to add?
Yes. So a couple of things. The government has been saying through local channels, and even President Trump has said a couple of times, that they will confiscate as well as prosecute hoarders of necessities. I don't know if that means Pampers or not, but I promise you I wouldn't take a chance on whether or not it is. So you have to be careful for that reason. Secondly, if you cause a unnecessary gathering of more than, because we're down to 2 people now. So if you cause an unnecessary gathering of more than 2 people, you can be fined. Don't think.
I didn't know we were down to 2.
As far as I was,
I didn't know that.
My understanding was when Governor Wolf. My understanding was when Governor Wolf put out the newsletter a couple of weeks ago, it was no more than 2 in public. So in your home, you can have, as many, I'm assuming, as you want. But in public, there cannot be more than 2 of a social gathering. You have to maintain the 6 feet apart. And I even seen in there where it said, unless you're doing approved individual exercises. So like running, jogging on your bike, stuff like that. See, so nobody's even really paying attention to the fact that they could arrest you if they want. They could give you a fine if they want and release you. But the bigger thing is, during this time, if you have things you want to give out in terms of food, if you want to give out, supplies, et cetera, go through your local church or community center for 2 reasons. One, because you don't want people breaking a social distancing requirement, but 2, understand the potential, okay? Because right now we're still in a kind of a safe time. But if this goes on for another month and you want to do things like that, imagine the guy that's standing across the street, not in line, just looking, just waiting to see what happens when the dust clears. Or imagine if you have 1,000 Pampers, right? But it's 1,500 people in line. And when you get to 999, you say, okay, everybody, we don't have any more. You can create a melee, okay? So we want people who have their heart in the right place to be able to give back, but you have to do so responsibly. It's not the time for vainglory, photo ops, or anything else. So although the lady was, I'm going to assume, was righteous in her, desire, she was a little bit unthoughtful in the way she executed it. And we have to be smart. We have to be concerned about everyone's well-being. At no reason should, children, and infants, be out and exposed to this, because we have had one death by an infant. I forgot which state it was, but it was a death by an infant by COVID. And Ms. Bonds is asking, can her daughter and her husband go out for a walk? Absolutely. There's no reason, there's no indication that law enforcement is going to interrupt small families, especially if they're spread out enough. Okay. You don't want to be in tight packs, but when they see just people hanging out or, in large groups, regardless of what it is, you are putting yourself in a situation to be a victim of a property crime, or to get cited. Again, it's not happening now. That does not mean it's not coming.
Now, Charlotte Greer Brown wants to know, so what about these essential businesses like Walmart? Because they're allowing hundreds of people in the store at a time.
So the essential businesses are exempt from it. The government understands that we have to get health, care. We have to get essential food items. And as of now, we have to get gas. So those are areas where they're just going to allow it. But you just got to be smart. You still have to practice social distancing. Some of the grocery stores and places like Walmart have greeters in the front with hand sanitizer and wipes. Make sure you wipe down the stuff before you touch it.
In addition, there are, and I've only been out to two places, so that was ShopRite and Target. Okay, so that was it. And when I went into Target, they actually did not have any cashiers working. You could only use self-checkout, and there were two individuals wiping down the self-checkout area after each individual, and you had to get a directed to that particular thing. And when I say they wiped down the keypad, the screen, the whole thing. And then when you came in, there was somebody who was wiping down the carts and handing them to you. So it's like they wiped it down and not handing it to you, directed you to which cart, so nobody touched it but you. And as well as in the supermarket when I went, there was the same thing with the wiping down and coming in. But I didn't even know I had actually walked past the line, but there was a thing on the floor to tell you that your cart goes here and you're supposed to be standing behind it. I had no idea what I was looking at. I was steady just walking because I made sure I went when nobody was there. But I think what Charlotte is really talking about, and I think this is an issue. So we have our small stores, right? And our small stores have been limiting the number of people that can actually come in and be in the store together. But that is not true of the ShopRite. That is not true of the Acme. That is not true of the Home Depot. What you're really trying to do is just trying to find a time when nobody else is there. When you come up, so many people I've seen do lives have said they got to the parking lot, counted the cars, and then just kept going. So it's not been just about that. So, but then again, some of the reason that those places are so crowded all the time is because they've shortened the service hours. So we've become a 24-hour shopping society, right? So we're not used to being inconvenienced. It is, okay, I can go to Walmart at 3 a.m. And that's what people have gotten used to. So now you can't go to Walmart even at 8, because from 8 to 10, it's still senior hour. So you got really from 10 to 6. And what's happened is now, and everybody's at home. So what are they doing? So in the morning I can't go because I'm teaching, I'm teaching the kids. Now I'm a school teacher. Can't go late because now I got to feed the kids. Everybody goes to the market between 12 and 2. And that's very unusual because that's when everybody wasn't in the market before.
Yeah, and that's correct. And again, these businesses are going to stay open, God willing, because people have to get to them. But when you go, you have to be safe. You can't stand next to people for too long of a time. And, you're going to look weird, but you got to cover your face, whether you're using a T-shirt or whatever it is, or a napkin and some rubber band. Go on YouTube and put in makeshift face mask or something like that. Put something on your face, because it goes both ways. You could cough in the air or someone else could cough in the air. And certainly when people are hoarding the N95 masks that go to healthcare individuals, but the rest of us, that doesn't mean we should just be walking out willy-nilly with our entire face exposed, because that's the most vulnerable place and we all know, whether it's your mouth, your nose, or your eyes. So, practice that precautions, because these places are going to be open. You're going to need to get food. You're going to need to get gas.
And I wanted to come back to Alexandra. I was giving her an opportunity to come back to this screen instead of the other one. Look, I know, girl, because we still working in the lane of social distancing. So, and I thank you for coming on. But Alexandra had a different view on what was going on as far as the necessity of the pamper giveaway yesterday. And so I thought this was actually an interesting viewpoint that, everything is not always as it appears. Alexandra?
Well, I gave it to one thing. I was thinking about it, and even after you and I were discussing the topics, when you're looking at your feed, and I know I've been guilty of it, she could have read the young lady's question, she answered it, but then the other people were coming back in a negative way, and in reading, you're getting that frustration level. So you're reading this person's post while trying to answer the original post as professional and calmly as possible. And then somebody else is coming back at you and attacking you, and you get frustrated. And then your frustrations just spill over. And she attacked the young lady. Well, I wouldn't say attack. Her response was very curt and very, maybe just too direct and a little hurtful.
Do you think that was just also because sometimes things don't come across the same way when you type them? Like, because I know I've been guilty of that, right? So I think I'm responding, and then people are like, yo, you didn't have to read me like that. So
everyone's comprehension level is not like yours. And it's not saying someone is stupid. So let's get that straight. I'm not saying anyone's stupid. Everyone's there, and anyone has out there is they're taking it. She could have said this way because of a or an accent or whatever. On the receiving end, it's not good to communicate via social media posts, texting, or whatever. Usually it's just, she could have went to the side and said, look, DM me something for you, and you won't have to bring the baby.
We're having a little bit of technical difficulty for Alexandra, but I think definitely get where you're coming from, darling. There's definitely a way that we can handle these things, especially in social media.
Text messages. Sorry, everybody.
That's okay. But there you go. You back?
And I can't.
So everybody want to call you, Alex. See, that happened to me too. It's like as soon as I go live, everybody want to talk to me. It does. And or people go, "Are you live?" Like, yes, I am. I really am. But I definitely get you. Sometimes it's not just what you say; it's how you say. We don't want to come across as keyboard gangsters. And you know what, Doris? You are exactly right. We can only lead by example, and what we have to do is not be the only ones leading. So, as I tell everyone every time that we end one of these, is this. First, I need to thank Gary and Alexandra for joining us today. Don't forget, Gary can be reached at
267-225-5442, www.baileylawassociates.com, gbailey@Bailey Law Associates. All the associates have an S on the end of it. Say gbailey@BaileyLawAssociates.com at 1500 Walnut Street, Suite 204. That's at the corner of Walnut, 15th and Walnut.
See, Gary, he can leave that to the plain talk and not lawyerly. So, I mean, you down to the location. You might as well just drop a Google map pin on it. That's what I like, Gary. There you go. But, we're going to tell people don't come out, because no matter what's happened to you, it's not important enough to come to the office right now. He's available by phone, email. He's doing the personal Zooms one-on-one, so he can get in contact with you. And of course, his information is all down in the comments, so you can get it. Tish is a little bit late. Specifically, Tish, Gary is a personal injury attorney. So that is anything that happens to your person, any way you are injured, be that an auto accident, a slip and fall, dismemberment, something happens to your family, your child, those things. But because, just like myself, when you are dealing with a case from 2 to 5 years, you become their lawyer, the family lawyer. You're responsible for everything. they're looking for their divorce, at least we've got you for a referral, even if we don't do it. You need a will and estate. We're trying to save you from letting the thing go down a little bit further. If you need some help with trying to get your disability or your unemployment compensation, we are here to help you. So that's what Gary does. I'm going to thank Alexandra for coming in with some different social commentary. We always appreciate that. And again, I am attorney Danyl Patterson, candidate for the 190th West Philly, baby, reminding you that together we will do better. I'll see you tomorrow at 3:30. Thank you. Bye-bye.